My name is Mony, and I'm going to be talking to you about the inter and intramolecular forces in water. But first, we need to know the difference between inter and intramolecular forces. You see, intramolecular forces are the forces that keep the water molecule together, whereas intermolecular forces are the forces between the two water molecules. So now, what do you think is going to happen when we add heat, also known as energy, to the equation? You know what? Let's just take a look at it in a more confined environment, like this pot. I'm going to be pouring some ice, which has a really strong hold of the intermolecular forces, and it's really cold, and it's pulling all the atoms together and not really moving all about. And I'm going to add some energy and see what happens. See, as I'm adding this ice, you can already see that there's some liquid around the bowl. However, if we speed up this process, we can see that it quickly turns to liquid. Now I'm going to be adding some salt in the equation. You see, this water can dissolve the salt because the positive part of the water molecules attracts the negative chloride ions, and the negative part of the water molecules attracts the positive sodium ions. This can happen to a great degree. However, as you can notice, there's still some salt left. And why is that? Well, this is due to oversaturation. There is no more positive and negative attractions for the salt to bind to in the water. There just simply is not enough water. However, something that you will see later on is that when this more and more energy will be added to this water, it will heat up and it will turn into gas, and the salt will remain exactly back in the pot and won't evaporate with the water. So let's speed this process back up. And as you can see now, there is some boiling going on. Fast forward the process, and after a bit of time, you start to notice that as more and more water leaves the equation through gas, more and more salt is left behind around the container. You can see here all around the pot there is salt, and this white stuff all around, and that's simply the salt being left behind as the water evaporates and leaves the system. So now let's review. You see, the salt was able to dissolve in the water because both the salt and the water are polar. Therefore, both molecules bind and the salt dissolves in the water as they are both attracted to each other. Then there is also the intra and the intermolecular forces. Intra being the forces that hold atoms together within a molecule, and the reason we have ice, water, and gases, and intermolecular forces being the forces that exist between molecules, and also the reason the water took so long to heat up. As you can tell, this is only a little bit of what water has to offer, and it's really interesting so far. And there's a lot more to learn about, which I can't wait for along the rest of the school year.